Orlando just got a tattoo of your face on his neck. Yeah.
You still speak to Raven?
Of course. Of course. I haven't seen her too much lately, but I wanted to marry her, but I gotta find out a way to ask her.
So after all the stuff you said, she never reached out?
No, she's not going to. Like my mom, she ran away from her damn problems. I mean,
I know his family, I know him, and I knew him before, after, during God, not during God. And you think you know Orlando. I worked with him for 7 years, day in, day out. That's nothing.
Hi, my name's Jake, and welcome to a very special episode of Secret Society. Last time I talked about Orlando Brown on this channel, I dove deep into his rise on the Disney Channel, how he fell from grace and ended up not only on Dr. Phil, but actually getting bailed out of jail by Natalie Nunn herself. That entire situation was wild, and it spread genuinely everywhere since my first video. And now I've got some major updates. Raven Simone has officially responded, all behind a paywall nonetheless, but no worries, I've actually tracked down the interview and Orlando's response as well, and it's just as unhinged as you'd think. So sit back and prepare for another wild ride diving into the drama surrounding Orlando Brown. Now, to first reintroduce Orlando Brown, I want to dive into this clip from the Nesdy Classified podcast where Annalise directly addresses Orlando.
Since you grew up so close, is Orlando Brown crazy or is he acting?
I thought you were going to ask me about Raven's Home being canceled.
No, I held that one.
I know.
Or is he acting? Is it all a joke? Is he acting?
I don't think so.
No.
Already, the tone for this podcast is just so different than the one that Raven's on. You'll see.
I'm sorry, there's way too much vigor behind that.
We want it to be.
Orlando be locked in, though. I'd be like, it can't be serious.
He was always like that, though. You know, he was. You're right. There's a good point. It was all, you never knew what was real. You know, and sometimes, too, he'd just like lie right to your face. I love him to death.
I think Annalise does a pretty good job here addressing her friend Orlando while still talking about the subject matter at hand, but there's no really easy way to do this, and I see why they've all waited until semi-recently to speak on it. Because you say one thing and you've got Mose ready to suck all the air out of the room.
I love him to death, and
you just have to laugh with him.
Annalise is clearly choosing her words so carefully, and the guy who plays Cookie off Nesdy Classified just keeps interjecting with these absolute statements like, we just have to laugh at everything Orlando says. Like, maybe not. Have you heard some of what he says? I get it, like a lot of it's funny, but oh my goodness, you can tell that the Nesdy Classified actors and actresses never really had to have the same media training as Disney Channel, which high key I think is why anyone watches their podcast, because no one's looking to relive Nesdy Classified. I think they just like how messy they all get compared to all the other Child Star podcasts that are still trying to get cast in movies and TV shows, so they don't actually give the real dirt.
I know he loves me, and I know, we used to make music together. We had great times. We used to smoke a lot of together.
Imagine that blunt rotation. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think honestly, like, just because I think maybe a little bit, I don't want to misspeak. I love Orlando. I don't know if a little bit of brain chemistry has changed from drugs.
Then why speculate? I mean, you're his personal friend. To go on a podcast, you know they're going to make it views, clicks, thumbnails. And granted, maybe it's been a problem in the past and she's gone to him in private and he hasn't listened, so she feels like she needs to go public. But at the same time, that doesn't quite feel like what this is. This feels like they're just trying to clear up the comments because that's all anyone asks her about.
But he was already kind of like that, already kind of, how do you say, out there, eccentric, always putting on a show, you know?
I can definitely get behind this response because what else is she supposed to say whenever she's asked about his struggles? At least she's praising him and talking about his talents and all of his redeeming qualities. But honestly, Raven and Annalise haven't had a perfect track record either, so she's probably been scared to speak on him in general just because it might look like direct shots at Raven with how he's been speaking about her. But in this interview, I mean, she's saying he's really funny and humorous and a lot of his jokes are at Raven's expense. So while I don't think this is directly highlighting like a jab or a shot that Annalise is throwing at Raven, I think it does kind of peel back the curtain behind their friendship. And you'll see, honestly, Raven and Annalise could have talked about this behind the scenes because Raven's statement at the end of this video actually does echo a lot of what Annalise is saying here.
In some of the funniest ways, he is one of the funniest people. I said was because I don't work with him anymore.
Yeah. See, Annalise is choosing her words so wisely about Orlando. She's even correcting the tense that she's speaking in.
But is one of the funniest people, and you know, he'd be like, these chains are real. He'd be like, my chains are real, or, you know, like, tell me how much the diamonds were. And I'm clearly looking at fake jewelry. Just like,
my God.
She has a very mixed reaction to him, and I think it's very well thought out, but I do think it's authentic.
like, well, I don't care, babe. We make the same salary. What the hell?
Why are you
What
trying
the
to lie?
Okay, I wasn't going to say anything because I was like, ooh, maybe I want to be a guest on their podcast someday, but this podcast is actually insufferable. I do not know how anyone watches this. Oh my gosh. Like, wow, Mose really thought that was a good one.
I love you. I love you. I care. Is this real weed or fake weed? That's all I care about. How many seeds are in the blunt?
Okay, who's giving Chelsea boof? Also, she's trying to redirect the jokes that they're actually all laughing at her and not the fact that Orlando's chain was fake and they were making the same salary, as she adds a layer of her cognitive dissonance. So she is still acting as if she's going to see him again, which she very well could.
It was Mr. Sweet. That's all I care about. Oh, I don't care about your f***ing diamonds. Like, you know, that kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, yeah, you couldn't hone it in, and I don't know.
Definitely walking the line here of what Orlando is gonna see and how she can talk to the audience without him understanding. But he is so smart. He's going to get every single dog whistle, eye movement, tone change, and then he's gonna go on Instagram and ask all his followers about it. So honestly, don't try to pull a fast one on Orlando, because I don't think a fast one can be pulled.
It's hard because those interviews have been internet breaking for the last 6 years.
He's hilarious. He really is hilarious. It's like the longest run-on sentence you ever had.
Because Annalise is so nice and has been trotting the line during this entire interview, anytime she makes a definitive statement, Lindsay Shaw's reaction is just so overblown. I can't stand this podcast.
That's kind of the, you know, people are watching a train wreck, which is always a little disgusting.
Train wreck, wait, that sounds a little too familiar. No.
I really truly feel like when I watch that stuff, I think about it and I can't watch it, you know, like I don't like to look. Anyway, it is amazing that so many people have, and I think it's attributed to, yes, he's crazy. Yes, we already know him and are familiar with him being a child actor, but also he's pretty hilarious.
Hilarious.
Always be funny.
And trust me, we're gonna get to all of those interviews and videos. Now, just some minimal background on Orlando. Starting on various sitcoms like Major Pain and Family Matters, Orlando Brown's star would rise very quickly as a child. He'd find himself auditioning for Disney Channel's latest show, That's So Raven, and would get cast as Eddie, one of Raven's best friends. Now, Orlando has claimed several times that he and Raven Simone actually dated. Now, Raven has shared a lot of stories about her love life without naming names.
You know, it's funny, a lot of my relationships I have confidentialities with, so I'm technically not allowed to talk about them. So I'm gonna talk about it in general. I have been in a lot of different kinds of relationships, but my first true love relationship was both pleasurable and miserable and heartbreaking and heartfelt. It was a journey.
How old were you?
That relationship lasted, well, I started in that relationship at 13 years old and it ended in like 20 something. A lot of people call it puppy love. And I think it depends on the humans. Yeah, there's some times where there is puppy love, but I truly didn't feel like my first relationship, even though it was at 13, but it lasted until we were in our 20s. The romance stayed the whole time until stuff started getting twisted.
And a lot of people have speculated that those stories were about Orlando Brown, but nothing's ever been confirmed. So clearly tensions were high as they were on their rise. As the show ended, so did seeing each other every day. In the mid-2010s, all the That's So Raven cast would reunite on The View for a That's So Raven reunion.
I think we really were funny and comedians, and I think it started with Ray. She was really funny and made everyone else funny with physical comedy and everything.
The chemistry was amazing.
Yeah,
At the same time, the chemistry was like, we weren't just talking to just like ourselves all the time. We were talking to family all the time.
Yeah.
It turned into like something that was very, very epic, and I think that's what
I think it also comes, we had a really good time period in the.
But then crickets, and Orlando Brown went off the rails.
Orlando just got a tattoo of your face on his neck. Yeah, what do you make of that?
I make of the second season of That's So Raven will be coming out July 25th. Are you
Actually, we were working on something to basically get us all back together, the cast, and also wrote a show called Coach Eddie.
Do you still speak to Raven?
Of course. Of course. I haven't seen her too much lately, but
what's your relationship like with her now?
Right now, it's pretty good. I wanted to marry her, but I gotta find out a way to ask her. So right about now, I'm just chilling.
Let me tell you something. Something I said, that was the first bop, but it was a it wasn't a bop. Damn it, I was licking all that. I didn't know what I was doing. I was 13. Damn.
I was getting nasty, really.
You know, well, she was a nasty bitch.
I'm Sorry, what is that part?
Well, she was a nasty bitch.
I know Orlando's probably doing better now, but I do miss this Orlando.
Oh, no. But you know what's funny, though? The kids are disgusting. Kids are good.
My mama caught her me off and she walked out. She, that's Raven, it's okay.
Yeah, that's true. That's real shit.
Okay, like Orlando is so funny, but at the same time, I have to question the legitimacy of these interviewers. Like, they are just busting up, laughing to his face. It's like, what is the actual point of this interview? I feel like they're being pretty transparent, so I guess I can't be super mad at that, but it just brings back to the ethics of like interviewing someone when they're under the influence. You know, recently, someone who I made a video on actually made a video talking about all the documentaries about them online, and she said she reached out to every single person who made a video about her and wanted to do an interview, and no one would answer.
I actually have reached out to every single one of those, Tila haters and all the people on YouTube who has created those like Tila Tequila documentaries about me, the downfall of Tila Tequila, and I've literally reached out to every single one of them myself personally, and I said, hey, thanks for taking your time out to create a video about me. If you want to know the truth about me, and if you would like to have me on your show as a guest, I would be more than happy to join you. And to this day, not a single one of them has reached out.
Now, granted, this is Tila Tequila, someone who has completely ravaged her digital footprint, but I also went and checked and she didn't reach out to me. So I was just kind of thinking in my head after watching that video, like, would I actually want to interview Tila? I mean, no one's spoken to her in years. And would y'all even want to see that? So honestly, whether these interviews should happen or not, I guess we should hear what Orlando has to say. I just feel like there's a way to reason with him more, and they just kind of like accept his words at face value, which I guess is kind of what you have to do in an interview. But whenever the person's like kind of going off the rails, maybe try to steer it in a more real direction if you're not just trying to exploit them. Anyway, sorry if you've already seen this, but back to the Orlando refresher.
You know what line I'm talking about?
Yeah, tell Minnie Mouse to suck my sack like Raven did when she was black. When you hear that rat-a-tat, I suggest you a scat.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I meant just that.
Just that?
Just that, yeah.
So what do you mean to say like Raven did when she was black?
I mean, I told you in the first interview, I mean, she gave me, and then I gave her some, yeah.
But what do you mean by that she was black part? Are you saying
well, that's because of what she said.
So is she no longer black?
That's what she said.
So you don't want to be labeled gay?
I don't want to be labeled gay. I want to be labeled a human who loves humans. I'm tired of being labeled. I'm an American. I'm not an African American. I'm an American.
Oh, girl, don't set up the Twitter on fire.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
My Lord. What did you just say? Stop the tape right now.
Oh, she did say that.
Yeah, she did. Black, come on, Black. Don't make me sad.
Okay, yeah,
you're doing me bad.
Yeah. How did you feel when you heard her say that?
How did I feel? Yeah. I felt like you dumbass. Don't you know that the Cosby's was a predominantly black show, show audience?
Not predominantly black.
But at the end of the day, I mean, like I said last time, I stand by her. If she feels like she's Britney Spears, then by God, let her be Britney Spears, goddammit.
It's Britney, bitch.
Bitch still ain't called me. I don't give a.
So after all the stuff you said, she never reached out?
I know, she's not going to. Like my mom, she ran away from her damn problems. I mean, they're not gonna face, looking somebody dead in the eye and not being able to look away. You know what I'm saying? Like it's those kind of people that you want to stay away from, or you either want to try to help. And me, I try to help.
Well, you made another video about her breasts.
Yeah, the areola.
The areola.
The areola.
Right. Well, you said that she had clear areola.
I didn't say she had. I said it was the whole. It was one color.
The whole.
The whole.
But usually the areola is a different color.
Well, that was. Let me tell you something. Look, it looked like it had a cataract. It was beautiful, but see, it was just like it was a smooth. It was a smooth. Okay, it was smooth at the bottom. At a certain age, the areola does not form yet. You gotta turn like 20 or something. So right now, I was 14. That's what makes me Orlando Brown.
I still don't quite get it, but.
Did y'all end on bad terms? Like what?
We're not on bad terms. It ain't nothing bad.
You just honest and she just.
I just still taste her. That's all.
Oh shit. That must be some bomb ass quiz. How long was y'all fucking?
We never.
Oh, how long was y'all?
Now, obviously, if I haven't made it clear, Orlando is so entertaining, and these videos would fill up For You pages as far as the eye could see. I feel like my video was a little bit before it really blew up, but like a couple months after my video, I remember just seeing him everywhere. Like that Baddies Texas show really blew him up. Honestly, I feel like the whole world saw, and I was always wondering, like, is Raven watching these from her mansion? Like, is she seeing these videos? And she's replied. So now I want to break down the new interview all about Orlando that Raven conducted on the Zeus Network. Well, I guess the entire thing isn't about just Orlando, but it was definitely the shining moment that everyone's talking about.
I have to be really careful about what I say about Orlando because I'm going to keep it 100. This is a safe space. Orlando is very smart.
This is already shocking. Like, I know he's smart, but the fact that she's opening up on compliments.
His tongue quips are so much faster than mine. And I know that.
This is a high compliment from Raven Simone. I watched That's So the Sweet Life of Hannah Montana the other day, and Raven is eating everyone alive. She is without a doubt one of the funniest, quippiest, quickest, sharpest actresses Disney Channel has ever employed. So her saying this about Orlando Brown actually carries some weight.
Right? So he can come off the dome like like that.
I feel like Raven might have literally done this entire interview just to say that one scoobity-bop-bop comment to address that very specific video. Speaking of scatting and music, Orlando also has a new song going viral everywhere.
I wanna make love to your body, baby. Won't you do me naughty? 'Cause I like it when you do me that way.
And he talked about making a song with Raven on No Jumper.
A song with Raven, man.
A new one?
I got it. Oh, bro.
I thought she didn't want anything to do with you.
Oh, bro. She can't run from that day at the mansion, bro. I got the masters. Like Suge Knight.
We need to see photographic evidence of you guys spending time together, or else I'm going to assume this is poppy.
Oh, poppy my ass.
You ever heard of poppy? Pop my right in your ass.
I was literally like, yeah, we'll believe that when we see it. Anyway, back to Raven's response.
Right? So he can come off the dome like that. He's been doing that since I've known him, and I've known him for a very long time.
So
My
it's
quips come 3 weeks later.
Okay, not too much on Raven though. I mean, she's like honestly giving him so many flowers, but at the same time, her quips are very quick. She is extremely witty and definitely like the sharpest person ever on Disney Channel. But also, I guess, add Humble to that list.
But you can text me for quips.
Hilarious.
I got them.
And
I'm gonna quip it up.
I know also that I know his family. I know him.
I feel like this is Raven dog whistling to Orlando. Like, be careful what you say in interviews. I know you so well, and I know your family. Like, oh my God.
And I knew him before drugs, after, during God, not during God.
I know that this is not my business and honestly TMI, but just to be a fly on the wall when they were friends after Orlando experimented with substances, I feel like that era of time was so strange for both of them. Raven was making headlines on The View, and Orlando, his career was falling apart.
And he was a comedic genius. And he's still making people laugh. So I would actually...
At others' expenses.
At others' expenses.
Yeah. Raven's like, yeah, at my expense, and I literally don't care. It was entertaining. Like, what is this? I feel like she's always been very degoff. And I'm glad that if she's going to speak on it, she's speaking on it after she's clearly processed it all.
And I'm secure enough in my bank account and my life.
Ooh. Anytime I make a video about Raven Simone, all of y'all go into the comments being like, she's not even touched her Cosby money, which I actually think is true. I don't think she's literally ever touched her money from the Cosby Show. So the fact that she's still probably just living off of like Raven and Cheetah Girls residuals is insane.
That I don't have to dig that deep down to take it. And I also don't have to defend myself about anything because that's his experience. Only way people are going to know it's true or not is if I corroborate.
Ooh, so we're still not getting a full answer on whether or not they were in a relationship, but honestly, oh my gosh, it's kind of pointing towards yes, and that's like so sad. Like, imagine seeing your ex-boyfriend from like when you were growing up go on social media and go on these interviews and talk about you like this, and like all those private details. Like, oh my goodness. I know like she's saying it's like, you know, it's funny and entertaining and stuff, but oh my goodness. I mean, the cognitive dissonance that this takes to be like, oh, I just won't respond because that will corroborate it. I mean, that is easier said than done. Like sitting in that while everyone asks you, everyone sends it to you, and it's literally your entire For You page. That is actual torture. But Raven is one of those Disney Channel warriors that I feel like she could have been thrown any life problem and she would have come to set with a smile on her face, ready to shoot the next commercial. That's how she's been described, and honestly, I think that's why she is where she is in her career.
Corroborate. Thank you, Law and Order. You know what I mean? And I plead the fifth.
That's all Raven really can do, because Orlando has come after her so many times with so much information. She would have to sit there for hours and hours just to decipher what's true or not.
Period. But I know that what he's doing, because I saw him on a YouTube thing, it was all...
Oh, Raven comes to the secret society meetings. I'm kidding.
Dating a whole bunch of girls coming up, and when he calls people, hey, Michael Jordan, like when he does that, honey, you think you know Orlando. I worked with him for 7 years, day in, day out. That's nothing.
Okay, I don't know what show she's talking about on YouTube where he goes and like dates a bunch of girls. Is he like on some sort of YouTube Bachelor? I would definitely watch that. But I like how she's like, you think you know Orlando. Like she is giving them sound bites. She knew that this was going to be behind a paywall, and she was like, this is my time. This is my time to speak my truth about Orlando to all these people who will probably leak it on Facebook, but it's not going to go very far because it's behind a paywall. Why do I kind of love Paywall Raven? I feel like she's so free.
But weren't you also executive producer of the show? So in many ways, you also were his boss, and you gave him the platform.
So this interview is low-key trying to insinuate that Raven discovered Orlando. You know, he was a child actor before, but That's So Raven was his huge break. And listen to what Raven says.
Well, you know, at the beginning, I did not hire him, but we did know each other. And he can have his platform because I have my own. We don't share right now. And that's okay, too.
No, I mean, in terms of like, this is why when you were a star before, the people who were on That's So Raven, you were a star before them.
No, Orlando was on...
we don't remember that.
If you don't remember Major Pain...
Am I supposed to remember? Oh, the movie.
If you don't remember Major Pain...
Yeah, but with the Wayans.
With the Wayans...
I remember him.
Orlando was on the same trajectory.
Now, this is true friendship. I know that obviously they've had their major differences in the public eye and the private eye, I'm sure. And even when Orlando has crashed out and tried to expose some of her most private details, to respond by defending his comedic legacy is something I've just never seen a star do before. So whether or not this is for PR reasons or not, she absolutely still has love for Orlando. And it's just heartwarming and sad to see how this all went down, honestly.
I have to give him his props as a comedian, and people will be like, oh my God, we're out here. I'm almost 40. I don't have room to steep and dupe that low. I got a wife. I got shit to do. Okay, you can stoop and
a bank account. She says she's proud of. Give it up for the bank account.
Period.
And see, there you have it. Obviously, Raven got her digs in. You know, she said that he stooped really low and she doesn't have to do that. And honestly, she's within her right to defend herself. These videos are absolutely wild. They have been sent around and gotten millions and millions and millions of views. For her to respond with anything but vitriol against him, I mean, that is a classy move. I know some people could say, oh, she didn't have to ever say anything about him, but they're both in the social media space and they're both child stars. Their paths cross literally all the time. So it's unrealistic to think that she would be able to just shut up about him and never speak about him ever again when he was one of the main stars of her show and is the only one actively speaking out against her besides Annalise Vanderpol soft launching her Disney Exposed story.
You're not doing Raven's anymore.
No. I was fired from that show.
I was fired from a show, Jesse.
Oh my God, was he going to be Bertram? Anyway, I want to know what y'all think about Raven's response. Is this how you would respond to Orlando? Would you go on a podcast behind a paywall and try to be nice? Or would you run him into the ground on social media? Do you think you have the patience that Raven has? I think I do. I think I could respond level-headedly to something like this, but honestly, on such a huge, massive platform, I think it's admirable the way Raven responded. Now, Orlando did catch wind of this interview. He immediately posted on his Instagram with a clip and a collage of himself and Raven and asked his followers, was Ray's message good or bad about me? Then Orlando posted a screenshot of the Raven Simone podcast DMing him saying, hi Orlando, my name is Laura and I am the producer of Tea Time with Raven and Miranda. We wanted to reach out and see if you had any interest in coming on the podcast, which y'all, that means that we are possibly looking at an Orlando Raven Simone 2025 crossover event, and that will be an event. I'm definitely going to Raven's channel right now and turning on post notifications. Let me know what y'all think. Obviously, Orlando posted this and had a caption where he quoted his entire part of the theme song, and it's going to be interesting to see how he documents his own process, because I'm sure he's not going to fully trust the edit, right? And I'm going to end this episode with a clip of Annalise Vanderpol owning Lindsay Shaw and spilling her truth on what she really feels about Orlando Brown.
I feel like if he could just put a parody spin on what he's doing,
I feel like if he could save
rebrand.
his life, if he could save his life, I certainly can't do it. For my own sobriety, and Raven can't do it. I don't know, his mother, Tiffany, I love her. I think sometimes parents even have to give up. I don't know. I don't know what his rock bottom is. I don't know if he's, again, so distorted. I think maybe he needs to be on drugs, needs to be on medication. I don't know, but I love you, Orlando. I love him so much.
Yes, and lots of love, lots of love.
Lots of love.
I don't care what you say, Devin. We're having him on the pod.
Anyway, thank you all so much for watching this video. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at JX3gram, and I will see you all later. Bye.